Hi, today I want to talk about autism and, in particular, what autism is to me. I am autistic and I'm also dyspraxic, and I'll probably in a later video will cover dyspraxia. But right now, I want to cover autism, and with autism, it's a spectrum disorder and it affects people in very, very different ways. Some people are very highly intelligent with it, some people not so much. You know, some people, as you see, will clam up, act out, and be non-verbal. Some are very verbal and high functioning. The battle is different, but also the battle is the same. So for me, I wanted to talk about how autism affects me. I think that if people watch this and they suffer with autism or know somebody that does, share the story. Let's learn more about this condition, how it affects different people. But also, let's look at them ways of saying how we can help and support and understand each other so we can bring healing. So, the classic symptoms within adults are commonly related to social and communication difficulties, repetitive behaviours, and sensory processing difficulties, and issues with um, executive function and theory of mind. So, how does it affect me? Well, first of all, in social symptoms, I am definitely prone to unintentional social blunders, and misspeaking. I say silly things that somebody who isn't autistic wouldn't. The stuff that I wouldn't think to say, my brain, it just comes out of my mouth. And you could say, well, people do that. Yeah, but there's certain times you don't. Sometimes it just comes out. And particularly when I'm heightened in some way, it comes out. And, within this as well, I have to say this, that if I say things, I'll fight to put it right because I don't want to hurt anybody, and I know that my actions and things that I say do. But I also, I do struggle maintaining conversations on topics, and I sometimes respond with saying too much or giving short answers. I struggle with, especially group conversations. I struggle feeling like I have a place, I belong. But also, I struggle to know where to come into a conversation. And also, I feel like socially I get awkward because I do hear things that are going on. One of my traits, and come on to it later, is I people watch. Autism people with autism tend to also have something that they fixate on in a way. Mine is people watching, and I guess that's why I've learned a lot about people's behaviour. I don't have a PhD in psychology. I don't even have a degree in psychology. I do in counselling. But you know what? Through just watching people, I understand the human condition. And that's one of the gifts that I have through it. People with autism, whatever they are highly gifted and needing of love, attention, and understanding. They're struggling every single day. Many of them, many not as much. But I guess sometimes in the battle in the brain it is. Um, Language or social, interaction is occasionally, social interaction is occasionally stilted. It's hard to know sometimes what to say to get words out. And, yeah, you just can't speak. Difficulty articulating personal thoughts. Well, difficulty speaking, saying how I feel, saying how yeah, what's going on with me. I struggle. I struggle to get personal thoughts out of what I'm thinking, and my mind just kind of clams up and shuts down. And I know that's partially to do with autism, it's partially to do with dyspraxia. Yes, I have a double whammy, which isn't helpful. Usually both go hand in hand because they are linked, but I just so struggle. Um, and sometimes I need to support to remember names. I struggle with that. I hate it. And some facts, facts of things that have happened. People ask me, I just don't honestly remember because my brain doesn't hold it. And especially the older I get, the worse it gets. Then there's repetitive behaviours, um, self-stimulating behaviour like hand rubbing or five-finger rubbing in pockets or foot tapping. For mine, it's leg shaking. Um, it's, as you see me about sometimes do, is scratching my head like that. There's a thing about routine. Um, I do get stressed when I'm interrupted or when I'm not focused. I do get stressed when there is change at times. I've learned to deal with it, but I do struggle. I mean, I might not be stressed on the outside, but in the inside, I am. And then I end up making some judgments, and then I end up losing control. And I end up not thinking, I begin to think, have I made the right decision with calls that I make? And this is particularly hard when I'm booking trips and things like that. I'm thinking, have I got the timing right? Have I done this right? Have I done that right? Or I'll just let other people tell me what they want and do it. But even though in my mind I'm thinking this isn't work, why didn't I question this? Or why didn't I say we just do this? Why didn't I have more control? Sometimes it's because I'm so overwhelmed, so oversensitized, and then when I say things, because burnout with people with autism is a major issue, and for me it is. And recently I suffered burnout big time. The residual effects are still now. It doesn't mean I cannot function, but it's times when I say, or when people say, look, I haven't got the capacity, I'm not able to do this. There's a reason. When you're self-aware, and some people that are autistic are, but in general, that's the time to understand if somebody says, I haven't got capacity to listen, and maybe not let them just do the little bits, but then don't put things back towards them, but also understand that there is a reason. And particularly when they're dealing with things of where they've been told, when there's expectations, somebody will call, doesn't happen, it's stressful. Or trying to sort things out and it's slow, it's stressful. you know when somebody with autism or generally puts their trust in an organization, like for me, the local police, and for soon to be legal reasons, I have to keep that quiet. But basically, who are supposed to be on your behalf and aren't, you know, it's a lot to take, plus other issues, expectations that are on you, and you're giving and giving and giving because you care, and because see, people with autism are able to show empathy, they are able to support people. Some not, some yes. But you give and give and give because that's your routine. That's your routine of focus, and you don't always remember to rest. And I know people without autism can do this too, and some of it you might say is, well, no. It's like a lot of this can be managed with somebody that isn't. They can come back, they can reevaluate. People with autism can as well, but it takes a lot longer, and it's a long road of the war that goes in your head to try and change the thoughts, pattern, and way of doing things. Um, there's also understanding broad theories or minute details. It's understanding when people say you need to be precise and clear with people that are autistic. Um, And a big one is there's the encouragement and understanding of other people's expectations. Someone with autism can sometimes, or for me, with my autism, I have very high expectations on myself to be perfect. You may say, but Matt, this comes with somebody that isn't. Do you know what? It's true that some of these do fit, but in its extreme case, these are just some of the things with somebody with autism. Sometimes it's that fixated stare as well that comes on. People are looking at you, think, why are you staring at me? And the reason you are, there is no reason. You're just staring. You just kind of check out and in a strange way, or, basically being autistic is hard. Like I say, my mind is a battle. It really is. And when I get stressed and worn out, and it really gets even worse, particularly when I don't sleep. Because for me, my mind doesn't shut off either from anything, work, home, anything. My mind doesn't shut off. And sometimes I feel like people don't listen. Autism, my issue is as well, is I do see the world differently. I feel like I get to a point where I get tired because I feel like I always have to make the effort to talk to people when they don't talk to me. And when that doesn't happen, or I feel like I'm pushed to the side, I back off. And that's not healthy either. Autism is a crazy thing, it really is. But unfortunately, there is no cure. And as you age, I believe the way you experience life changes. Because yes, I've always struggled in this head of mine, struggled to understand, yell out randomly at times. But I sometimes feel like the older it gets, sometimes the harder it gets. But also, like I say, some of that can be environmental and upbringing. And that's why I say it's important that we understand the condition and how it affects the individual. So we can then ask the question, how will it help you? And sometimes for me, it's just giving time, talking with me, engaging with me one on one. Trying to be a friend. But also when I ask for help and space to give me that'll just keep running more stress on me. But to ask, do you know what I mean? To generally openly ask, what does it look like for you? Are you okay in this instant? Not just flippantly, are you okay? Or make presumptions, but to say, look, let's talk, are you okay? Or maybe just have an understanding when things aren't right or don't seem right. That they're just tired. That I'm just tired, and and the tiredness affects my autism at a greater level. It does. This is not to make excuses of my behaviour or actions, and I will fight to make right the mistakes that I did, the wrongs that I have done, the things that I said that are wrong. And in some ways, because it plays on my mind if I don't. But please understand, for me with autism means as well, An autistic person does have fixed views, but there are people in this world who have views, will not listen to others, and will come at somebody with autism and push them down till eventually they go to their way of thinking. It's bullying behaviour, but it happens. But yeah, do you know what? Someone with autism, if they think something is wrong, or for me anyway, sorry, with my autism, if I think something is wrong, I'll not rest until I've studied to find out for myself, to know in my mind if I'm right or wrong, and I want to fight to change. You know, I can't speak for every autistic person, but I know many who are fighting to be better, to grow, to change, to be more normal, but also to find out where they fit in this world. And, you know, to have somebody to genuinely care and to generally want to give time as they want to give time, as they try to give time, as I try to give time. I know I say they, but I have worked with people with autism and seen it. But I'm not saying this is the case for all. Many can have time and give time. But also, if you have people with autism, if they get into bad routines, it is hard to get out and get back into good routines. Lockdown has been hell for people like me to get back and to be socializing again. It takes time, but also I want to say that those that have been raised in a loving family, that especially are high functioning or up that way, will have more of a possibility of thriving and surviving and being better in the way that they approach life than those like me who have not had a great upbringing. You know, they pick up more on what's been said and done, and it is hard to change behaviours overnight. But I want to be the exception and be the rule to work to change it. But I'm fortunate because I have a God that's helping me and a God that loves me. But don't write somebody off with autism as being worthless or not having a place. In fact, embrace them because they have a place and they bring a new, unique perspective to the world, and maybe instead of trying to push them down with your opinion, maybe actually have a heart to listen and maybe have a heart that reaches out to them, to reaches out to people, to get to know people and not just hang around those you know. Okay, but remember, autistic people also can be quite perceptive. So that's all I wanted to say on this first subject. Like I say, my struggle is here, my struggle is real, my struggle is daily. But it is a struggle. But it's a battle that I need to fight. And I always say, to fight alone, so be it. If it causes me to die alone, so be it. You know, there's days I think in myself, no one, you know, depression, anxiety can also go with this. But I sometimes think, do you know what? And I have had to battle all my life alone with very little support or care. I can do it, but don't let anybody else have to do it. I struggle through it, but I make it work. I have to. Don't let anyone else do it. You know, I pray every day, God. I've prayed and thought most days, you know, God, take me home. This battle is too much. But I know that I have a purpose here. This is me being real at this point. I know I have a purpose here. But I do look forward to the day when I get to heaven. I don't have to carry this burden anymore. And you know what? And this is me being straight. I don't think I'm even worth people grieving over my loss. I don't. I would rather people rejoice. But again, it's me being low because of the struggles that I have, particularly this time of year. But generally, and because of my nature, I struggle to get past it, but it's something that I'm fighting. Anyway, sorry to have gone down that road, but I just want you to know if you are struggling with autism, you're not struggling alone. You're not alone. And there are those people who can help you. And I want to ask you something. If you are somebody who's watching this, you know, the Action ASD or Autism UK website is great for things and helps on how to help people. Reach out, find out how you can, but show love to somebody. And if they can only give one answer, look, just see that as they are, and see that as a win because you're building relationship. Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to reach out to the parents of those who have people, particularly with severe autistic or learning difficulties, children, and actually say, "How can I help you? I'm here for you," and actually genuinely mean it and support. Let's support each other, let's not pull each other apart, and let's learn and grow. Because by learning, by having conversation, about talking, and not looking at people by their condition, by their mental illness, by the colour of their skin, and ethnicity, whatever. It's not about that. That doesn't actually matter. It's about getting to know somebody by character and for who they are. Somebody who they are is more than what they do. End of. And we learning by asking. If somebody says I'm autistic, well, how does that affect you? Tell me more about it, and get little things. Okay, so what do you need sometimes to help with that? Is there anything, and maybe think about, well, if they're like that, well, maybe by, I don't know, showing them care, support, love will help bring them out of it. Um, maybe embracing them for what they're good at. Just a thought. Anyway, I've gone on too long. I will put more up. I hope this comes through okay. Thank you.